Flowering Creativity bonus content. In this bonus content, we're going to start off by talking about our musical influences. So I'm just going to start, and my biggest musical influence is probably the band Dream Theater. They're a giant
Ah,
progressive metal band, and also Pink Floyd, who came before Dream Theater. Um, and Pink Floyd has a lot of incredible saxophone music. Um, Although Dream Theater doesn't have very much saxophone, I've just always just been amazed with the way that they would compose their music and create these incredible epic rides. Um,
yeah.
and I've also picked up some other really interesting influences along the way. We talked about Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull, giant influence on me.
Right.
And then, believe it or not, the craziest, most biggest surprise concert I ever went to in my entire life was the band Chicago. I was like a
Oh,
punk. I was like
man.
18 years old, and oh, this is my dad's kind of music. Oh my god, dude! I almost crapped my pants. They were so phenomenal. Incredible, giant influence ever since. Why don't you talk about some of your influences?
Right. Well, definitely when it comes to the saxophone, tenor saxophone, one of my biggest influences is Lenny Pickett. He was in the Saturday Night Live band, and he just had this incredible whistling register, like kind of like Mariah Carey. And that's Mariah Carey is my other influence, just the way she sings and everything. And one of the bands Lenny Pickett was in was Tower of Power. Like
Oh
the
yeah.
horn section was like, whoa, that's the tightest horn section I ever have come across. Like, and that just kind of like, whoa, I love that. And it kind of introduced me to funk music. And another one is James Brown. It's just his style, his energy was like, that's what I want to be. I want to be that energetic showman, through my horn. And, you know, it's just so much more, Grover Washington, he he was definitely one of my top influences, and what he was doing with the sax is just so smooth and relatable. He didn't play all these streaming notes, and he just did it in such a way that I just never seen before. And
I love
man, it's just
Grover.
it's just a whole list of great players. John Coltrane definitely introduced me to like his multiphonics and his bright style of playing in the jazz setting, and I'm like, whoa, it's insane. As soon as I listened to Giant Steps, I was like, whoa, I need to learn all that, and he definitely taught me how to play like fast playing and all these linear lines. So,
I've taken a lot of saxophone influence from like Dave Koz. I don't know if you're big into the whole
oh, Dave
smooth
Cause, right, right.
jazz, the whole smooth
Hmm.
jazz movement.
Oh my gosh, like I
Gerald
said, there's like
Albright.
a whole novel of influences for me.
Yeah,
Like Gerald
Mindy Abair
Albright.
I saw live a couple times. I saw Dave Koz. Um, so many great shows, man.
He became G a little bit, He's like, wow, that's funny.
Well, no,
And
Kenny
the other
G.
Kenny G, Kenny Garrett he did a little smooth jazz too.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
uh,
The joke about Kenny G though, other saxophone players, oh, he's not as good as someone. No, dude, Kenny G got more women in the mood than any other man. I swear. There's
yeah,
so many babies that owe their existence to Kenny G. I'm
right.
telling
I'm
you.
surprised. More than David Sanborn. David Sanborn is a hell of a
Oh yeah.
alto player. Like, let me tell you. Yeah, he definitely inspired me to like re-pick up my alto because I switched to tenor in middle school. I was like, whoa, no, no. Yeah, that's crazy. David Sanborn was like, yeah, I want his sound now.
I always liked
But yeah,
alto
Kenny G,
better.
like, come on, he's like so famous. Like, I'm like very like inspired by that and his following and his just his way of just being himself. Yeah, I'm going to circle of breathe for a lot, and I'm going to play smooth as hell.
Circular breathing is something that
Yeah,
I've not wrapped my mind around yet. I mean, I've studied it, like the technique of it, the theory of it, but it's not something that I've really had a whole lot of success with.
yeah. I just kind of stumbled upon it. I think it's just 4 years ago. I was just kind of practicing, and it just kind of happened. I think I was practicing with the straws. It's not happening, and then it just kind of happened. and you gotta get it clean. And I don't know. Like I'm very lucky that I just done it. It kind of translated through my other instruments, such as flute was the hardest because you can't puff your cheeks out. And, yeah.
Yeah, you have to like squeeze your cheeks in,
Y-
like right,
Right.
push the
Squeeze your
air
cheeks,
out.
and that uses the air while you're breathing through your nose. I know it sounds complicated, but once you have it, you have it.
I usually just kind of
And
end
this
up
other
getting
guy,
like a swallowing sound, you know, like
right, right, yeah, you sniff really hard, but it doesn't work when you're sick with stuffy nose. That's it. Nope.
right on.
But another saxophone player that really inspired me, and if you don't know him, you should look him up. Everyone should look him up. Beatbox sax guy, Derek Brown. This guy is phenomenal. He literally beatbox with the saxophone. He's inspired me to work on slap tongue, which is another great extended technique that I use sometimes, and it kind of like sounds like a slap bass, slap tongue. And it's just crazy, It's like I thought you can only kind of do that on flute with the percussive thing, but he proved you could do it on saxophone too.
Awesome. I'll have to
Yeah,
look into that. That's not something I'm really familiar with. Slap tongue. That sounds awesome.
yeah. It's like slap bass, like do like Marcus Miller type style, and yeah, you should definitely look that up.
Okay, so when we first met, your YouTube channel was quite a bit smaller, as was mine, and I mentioned that I've been doing React videos to try to grow my channel base. What have you been doing to attain your YouTube channel's goals and grow your channel?
Right. I've been just posting a lot more actually. Simple as that. And the people that kind of come to me, I post organically on Facebook, Instagram, and also just network working with other musicians who have channels similar to mine. I'm like, yo, I love your content, and just kind of like subscribe to theirs and they'll naturally subscribe to mine and things like that. And we kind of spread the word to each other. We share each other's content. So it's just that networking and growing on the community. Especially LinkedIn has been really useful for me. Network with other musicians and asking advice, like, hey, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And learning from other bigger channels has definitely helped me continue to grow my channel and everything.
Cool. Very good
And
answers.
yeah,
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of the friendly networking too. It really is a good practice as a music teacher, right? That does do private online lessons, right? To
right.
just
Hmm.
listen to people randomly and you know always
Right.
find the nicest thing you can possibly say, especially when you're publicly
Right.
commenting, right? You
Yeah.
know.
You're right. Tell me about it. You're right.
Now, when I
Yep.
get close with somebody, I may PM them a feedback sandwich and be like, "Hey, yo, blah blah blah." But I've learned, whenever people said some things that were a little bit too critical to me publicly, it really made me think. It's like, is that what I want people to think of me? That I'm like this
Right. Right.
nitpicky asshole? No, that's not. No.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely like gotta say the right thing, the right time, and all that. So,
It's tricky.
but yeah, but it's cool because I don't get it's good to just study from bigger channels and say, oh, how they talk, how they edit their content, what do they use, and things like that, and just use it to your advantage. You know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel; it's already there for you. There's a ton of reaction videos and covers, and like I still have a lot to do. Like I'm not even worried. I got collaborations that I'm working on. There's just so many things I have yet to try, and I'm just looking forward to it. And the main thing is that I learn is just to love the process. Doesn't matter how small you are. If you love the process and put your mind and effort to it and not think about anything else, you're gonna get there. So and I'm
Awesome.
just chugging along.
So, do you
As I'm
have
sure
any
you are.
Do you have any advice for someone who wants to start their own creative business or start a new creative endeavor?
Um, yeah, and just I would just say be patient, 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 and just never give up. Be persistent. Post content you love, and it's not about the quantity. I realize it's just about the quality of it. You put one good video out and share it a lot. Just like it's like my album. It's a year ago, but I'm already promoting it, and already I have new fans for my old album. You know, it's just things like just use it, use what you believe in, and people will start to follow. Like sometimes I reshare my old videos on Facebook. Boom, suddenly I get 7 more subscribers from it. New fans are wow. It's like I didn't know you play that, and it's like a 5 month old video, and it's like who knew? So just be patient and just really just say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Be really certain and always know your goals. Write down your goals. I write down my goals, what I'm going to achieve with my channel. Like, okay, I'm going to make some merchandise here. And, at this time period, I'm going to have this much subscribers by the end of this month and things like that. You're set, So basically, just go in with what you want to do. Just write it down. That's my best advice. If you write it down, you won't forget, and you just hold yourself accountable because it's all about discipline, you know. And just realize that hey, it's not going to happen overnight. End of the day, YouTube is looking for quality people who are going to post consistently, and with that, you'll be good.
Well, yeah, it definitely comes down to with YouTube, uh, at least from my research, the audience retention
Uh-huh.
rate, right, is the most
Right.
important thing, and then the click through rate. So basically, you want somebody to watch you for like 5 minutes is really what you're going
Uh-huh.
for. If you can get an average view duration of 5 minutes, and then your thumbnail, if people will click on it 10% of the time, I mean, you've got a viral video there. It's going to get, if
Right.
not, if your regular video gets 50 to 200 views, your video is going to get 2,000 to 10,000 views. It's going to get way more.
Right.
And when I say viral, I don't mean millions of views, because I mean with a channel with 500 to 1,500 subscribers, it's really hard
Right.
to jump that far. But I mean, it can be done, and it has been done. Um, wow, this is insane. Let's talk one more question here, bud. So
All right.
it's such uncertain economic times. I mean, some people are floating the word depression. I mean, this is crazy. How have you
Yeah.
enabled yourself to stay creative and working? I mean, you've been doing some gigs around the summer and the fall. While so many of the people are struggling.
Right. I just needed. I just found this inner fire. Like, okay, like I'm not gonna let anything stop me. In fact, instead of declining, I'm gonna climb up and just do what I do best. So I was just how I did that was just calling after calls and saying, hey, um, and giving the venues ideas. Actually, I actually help businesses grow by promoting live music and just saying, hey, maybe play for free for tips, things like that. And I actually got more of a following from selling my CDs and just things like that. Just kind of like no excuses, just keep on going. Like I call like 20 venues and I got 5. It's like, and it's better than nothing. It's just great, and just be willing to give it your all, because music, if it's your love, you'll do anything for it. So that's what I've been doing. I've been even putting posters, flyers around saying, hey, I teach lessons, and I've just been posting around and just being sort of like annoying because you gotta let people know that you're here and just do whatever it takes. So I just had this like that I just never had. I never had this fire before. And now I'm just it's working. So yeah, and I realized like a gig's a gig. That's how I've been doing it. So okay, I'll play at this restaurant and it pays, because like you said, people haven't been playing live out at all since COVID. You know, venues are doing bad. Venues are doing really
True,
bad
you're right.
and things
You're
like that.
right.
And I'm not the most well known, so
Mhm.
and that free one turned to now I actually getting paid. The venue's interested, and now they're actually paying me weekly. So it's just things like that.
That's
Sometimes you gotta
inspiring.
sacrifice that one time, and it actually pays off. So
Oh
now
yeah.
that free turned 350, because now they're like really like, wow, you're actually helping us too, and you know, and they see that like, wow, you're a good musician, you're willing to do that. Sometimes you gotta take leaps because, like you said, yes, I still gotta pay my bills, and I have a car, and I'm
Hmm.
saving up
Hmm.
for my own place still, and it's really tough, and sometimes you have to do that for the bigger picture, you know,
Yeah,
and
it's hard to be that generous and that giving.
yeah,
And I mean, I'm sort of looking at it from more of a past perspective because the way things happen in my life, I moved away from Florida where I had been for like about 15 years, came to Oregon, and I'm much happier here. But I was just starting to establish myself here in a brand new home, and then COVID hit. So it's like, I
right,
hadn't even started really. I joined a funk band and I played a bunch of gigs with them, and I did a couple of solo shows, and I was just starting to really dabble, get my feet wet in the scene, and start to get out there, and then
right,
everything shut down. And 50% of restaurants are predicted to not survive this. I mean, it's insane.
yeah, it's
Musicians like
insane,
Metallica isn't freaking working. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Grover Washington Jr., whoever.
right,
Like, none of the greats are working right now. Like, I mean, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
and
So,
and that's, I mean, for example, one of my friends, he has his own band, and but what he's done is he found another way. Basically, he had to find another part-time job. For example, he opened his own kind of vegan type business, online kind of delivery kind type of stuff. So he delivers like vegan foods and things like that, and he's been making income like that. And also, another friend has been investing in trades and things like that. And people are just kind of finding other passions, the other way to make income by any means. And luckily, there's a lot of online opportunities. Like I had some friends who are on online sites who lay down horn tracks and network with other producers for their albums, because people are still making tons of albums these
oh
days.
yeah.
And people need, like, hey, I need a bass player for this, or I need a flugelhorn player to lay down. And that's what I'm working on right now with some artists. And okay, well, maybe charge this amount, boom, get that done. And you kind of like put yourself, it's kind of like a Craigslist, because there's things like that. And you provide services online and things like that. And a lot of people, other friends are doing online lessons, a lot of them, and they're making income that way. And, like you said, people, but I know actually workers are working from online. So now you got to take advantage of the technology you have and work like that, because there's some bank tellers working from the house now. So there's things like that that I think are definitely good income possibilities.
You know,
And it's crazy. Like people are switching their careers, but I feel like you need to adapt and you need to get it by any means.
yeah,
And
it's
sometimes you got to put things on hold to keep things alive, keep your passion alive, keep your family fed. So it's really crazy to think about, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been talking to all different people, different ages, different backgrounds, from different places in the world. It's really cool, this technology, the ability for us to have this conversation. I'm in
Right.
Oregon, you're in Pennsylvania. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, and it's almost as cool as 2015 Back to the Future Part 2. Not quite yet. It's
Yeah,
almost to
yeah.
that point.
Almost. Almost.
Almost. Um, and like I will do certain gigs for free. Like if it's where I can do my original music. You know what I mean? Or like if I show up to help a buddy's band, just sit in on saxophone or whatever. I'm not like this rigid person where it's like, oh, I don't leave my house
Or
if I'm
for
not
like
getting X
exposure
dollars.
too.
But
Right.
but like but when it comes to playing a show like as work, You know what I mean? I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do covers and I'm gonna entertain your crowd and do what your crowd wants. For me, that's a job and I need to be paid for that. You know what I mean? There's a distinction where if I'm making the set and playing what I want for Joyride, I'm not gonna do the same shit as if you're paying me 200 or 300
Right,
bucks.
right. I mean, that's when a tip jar is cool, and sometimes that crowd, that one person will invite you to their party, and they'll pay you then. So it kind of leads to other routes. Like I said, it really depends on your background. Like you said, if you can't afford to do that, please don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you can afford maybe a free kind of time period, no more than an hour for free, 30 minutes, then I say go for it. It's kind of like open mic because you never know where it'll lead to. So
What I'll usually do if I'm trying to book a gig at a place is a solo, right? If they've never heard of me, if they go online, they may or may not choose to book from that. But if I can get them to let me set up and do that, 45 minutes set at an off time when, they're not busy and it's not a full show, you know what I mean? Like all that kind of thing.
right,
I'll do
it
that.
can't be a full show.
I'll do that
Right, it can't
because
be
I
a
get to
full
sit
show.
down at the
Right,
end and have a beer with the manager and be like, okay, look, this is what I charge for,
right,
whatever. Yeah, but I see that as sort of like an audition, um, you know.
right.
But like,
Yeah,
I've played so many
that's what I was
places.
pretty much saying.
Hmm.
Yeah, like you can't play a full 3 hour show for free. No, no.
Yeah,
you, you
yeah,
know, you just kind of break it down. Okay, well, if you want me to play for free for to see who I am in person, well, I gotta do a quarter of the show, a little something, and see if you like it or not. And that way, we don't waste any of our time, you know.
yep.
So
Especially when you're playing outside, like there's always the risk of the weather intruding and
yes,
your
yeah,
gear. So many places, it's like, well, can you give me a tent? Like
right,
a tent? Yeah, like I got like electric stuff, and if it like gets
yeah,
wet, then I'm gonna die. So can I have a tent?
right. There needs to be. You need to give them like, hey, this is what I want. If you can't provide this, a tent, a heater, then I can't do it. You know,
Yeah.
especially that's just that. You know.
So, do you have any more insights, advice, things you want to mention to our Patreons, our closest friends and family and fans that have come to give us not only, their comments and their time watching our content, but actually are donating their treasure directly to us to help to grow our artistic futures and careers? What would you like to share with them to thank them for their donations?
I would like to say thank you, for because music is a powerful thing, and I feel like musicians, especially these days with free streaming services and all that, it's hard for us to make income like that. And what you guys are doing, means the world. Just watching us musicians, go through these times because these times are the worst they ever been, and you know you need to support these artists, and I appreciate you guys doing that because without music, think about the world without music, without musicians, like that's not a world. That's music's a
Hmm.
universal language, and we need to keep that universal language alive. Otherwise, everything will be disconnected.
Yeah, the Beatles'
So,
Yellow Submarine,
and
Rush 2112. I mean, how many
right,
incredible songs, albums have been written about that, What if,
right,
the meanies took music away?
right. It's just like y- you know, these times are not to be taken for granted. But if you can't, these times when you see someone, my advice is when you see someone on live screen and they had their cash app, don't hesitate to donate. They're not making the income. It's it's crazy. So when you do that, it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. Musicians need more help than ever. So I encourage that. That's my advice.
Definitely. And I mean, you can find me on Venmo as well, or PayPal. There's lots of other ways that you can directly support us if you want to. But even just the $1 a month Patreon, it really makes so much of a difference to me. And
Yes, it does.
share with your friends. Help us to continue to grow. And we're gonna keep doing this, making this podcast, and trying to, help people to stay creative, because I feel like for me, my biggest calling in life, even more than to be creative, which I have to do in order to do this bigger calling, is is
Right,
to is to help to facilitate other people to be creative.
right.
And so it's just, I'm so grateful to everyone that's watching, and this is just so much fun.
Yeah, it truly is. It truly is. You know, it, being human is all about helping each other. It's like it's about one big family. One big community. You know, community a community helps one another, and it's important to build a stronger world. So I
And
encourage people to keep the music world alive. Keep it thriving, and I'm definitely happy to see people online thriving with their awesome video collabing skills, and you know it really means something. So yeah, like I said, I definitely encourage donations to all those great musicians out there.
definitely. And it's been a great time to really, just kind of look and watch other musicians, being unable to perform. It gives us the
Right,
time to sit back and, like, hey, let me check out some of these other cats that, maybe could give us new influences and help us to go in new directions. And, when things open back up, our shows will be better
right,
for it. So we just got to try to stay on the bright side as much as we can, because Earth School's about balance. And if we stay, all downtrodden, then we're just like cheating ourselves out of life enjoyment.
right. You really are. You can't live your life in fear and negativity. That's just not the way.
That is not the way. Thank you so much for being on Flower and Creativity with me, Aaron. This has been a great time. And so everybody make sure that you check out Aaron and his Patreon. So I'll see you guys next month in 2021 for Flower and Creativity bonus content. Thank you very much for joining me on Matthew's Music Lesson Studio. Please share this video, like, and subscribe. And did you know that you can get online music lessons from me on Zoom? I recorded MP4 for you, and you can then review that lesson forever. You can have it so we can go over it, you can practice along with it, and then that way, no matter what, you can relax and enjoy the lesson. So please, MatthewsMusicLessonStudio.com. I'll see you guys next time on Matthew's Music Lesson Studio.